Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is my first budget with me in several years. A couple weeks ago I did a budget spreadsheet tour, so I'm not going to be spending a whole lot of time discussing my actual spreadsheet. If you want to get a more in-depth overview of how I budget and why my spreadsheet looks the way that it looks, go ahead and watch that. I'll put a link somewhere, or I'll link that somewhere. But for today, I thought I would quickly go over what I spent in December, and then you can budget with me as I create my sheet for January. So to start out, what I have to spend in December, I had about $4,025 for my paycheck, and I brought in $168 from Side Hustle. I think that was like a plasma donation and some payouts from like surveys and things. Then I earned about $82 in interest, and I cashed a $7.50 check that I got from some Facebook litigation a few months ago. So I had a little bit of money to play with. So in total, I had about $4,200 that I could budget. This month I again earned from my paycheck about $4,000, and I only earned about $15 in Side Hustle, and that's the money that I will have to budget with in January. So what did I spend my money on? So in the expenses section, the first thing that I spent money on this month in December was my mortgage. My mortgage is $1,428.45 every month. This includes the mortgage and escrow for like taxes and things. I'm also, right now, I'm living with my parents, and I have been for the past couple of years, but they don't have room for all of my stuff in the house. So I've been spending $149 every month for a storage unit. And honestly, I didn't expect to live with them for 2 years. I should have just gotten rid of all that stuff. And over the 2 years, I would have been able to buy like everything back that was in my storage unit anyway. But, you know, I didn't know that when I was moving. I also pay about $184 in other condo related fees that aren't included in my mortgage. So this is like HOA, condo owner insurance. And these three budgets are the same every month. So what I know that what I'm going to spend on them. Food, I budgeted $200 and spent $196.44 on food. Some of this is eating out for myself. Some of it is food that I buy for the family. Then at the end of every month, I write my mom a check for about what's left over. So see here, I really write her an exact check. I think this month I wrote her a check for like $85, and then this extra $3 is just a nice little buffer pad that keeps building up to pad my checking account. Next, I have my rolling expenses. My fixed essentials, I budget the same for every month. My rolling essentials, I budget the same every month, but I don't always spend the same amount of money. So this month, I spent $119.84 on utilities. For me, this was really high. My gas bill was over $100, which I've never had a gas bill over $100 for 1 month. So you can see it was almost, and electric was a lot lower. It's only like $14. So, obviously it was budgeted. I spent way more than I budgeted, but, I did have extra in that fund from previous months, but I do think I'm going to have to budget more than $70 a month for utilities. And we'll figure out what that's going to be later. For a cell phone, I have to go in and check. How much did I spend on my cell phone? Apparently that didn't make it into my budget spreadsheet. Okay, so I fixed the error in my spreadsheet. I budget about $40 every month for my cell phone bill, and this month it was about $31. So the plan that I'm currently on, it only charges me for the data that I use every month. So I used a bit less data than I was expecting. I am planning on, in 2024, moving to a different cell phone provider to save a little bit of money. But we'll talk about that next month. transportation, so this is anything related to my car or moving place to place, and I spent $138.93. This is more than I normally spend in a month, but I don't drive a lot, and normally I fill up my gas tank like once a month, but I filled it up twice this month. So that's, like I said, that's a little bit higher than I normally spend, but sometimes that happens. In personal care money, this is things like, personal hygiene things, skincare and makeup. I spent $85 this month. Most of that was, I have a Clarisonic and I bought new brush heads. And I bought a lot of brush heads because I know Clarisonic went out of business a while ago, and I had a few brush heads when they went out of business, and then I had to replace them, so I bought a lot to stock up. That was that. And then household, this is things like paper towels, things like that. Like I said, I'm living with my parents. This month I didn't really need anything for my household, but I'm sure that I will need. I'm planning on moving into my own place, either January or February. And I'm sure that I'll need to budget a bit more for that. Then finally, in my spending category are luxuries. So for entertainment this month, I spent $26.48 I budgeted a lot for entertainment this month. I'm not sure why I budgeted $80 in entertainment. I guess I kind of thought that, holiday season, I'm going to be going out and doing things, but I didn't. I only spent $26.48, and I believe this was on, movie tickets. I went to the K-pop group 17 had a concert broadcast in theaters, and I went to that. This is also streaming, so I pay for right now 2 streaming services. I pay for one called Viki, which is K-dramas, and then I've been paying for Paramount Plus. I bought their Black Friday offer, so I have a few months that it's only like $4 for Paramount Plus. And that's what I spent on entertainment this month. For professional development, I spent $30.80 out of $50. So I spent, I have an ongoing subscription I pay for related to work. And then I also I normally don't park at my work, but I had to drive to work one day this month. So I included that in professional development rather than in transportation. Because it was related to my job. Then finally, my Mad Money budget is like my discretionary funds, and you can see I didn't spend a whole lot of my own discretionary money this month. I'm trying to save up so that I can make a kind of larger purchase, so I haven't been spending a lot, but I think I bought like a set of pajamas at Target or something, so a little something. You'll notice I don't have Christmas on here. Christmas is a budget that I'm going to be hiding for my budgets from now on, and but I did obviously spend money on Christmas. I actually overspent on Christmas. I spent more than I was planning to, but I'll make it up next month. And finally, for my savings goals, the first category that I am saving towards right now is home maintenance. I bought a condo earlier this year, and I've been fixing it up. So I've been putting a lot in my home maintenance. I budgeted $612. And then I actually saved $620 because I put some of the extra, I put the $7.50 that I got from the litigation I put towards there, I think. And then I spent about $450 on things related to my my condo renovation. So I have a balance of about $4,600, which is good because I still have to pay for a few things. I need to pay for flooring, and when I move, I'm going to be needing to buy some furniture and things like that. So if we look up here, this has been on my last several months of budget, so I estimated I'd have about $4,700 to spend. That was my estimate of what I'd have to spend in December. You'll see I still owe for new flooring. I bought baseboard this month. Actually, I was happy because it didn't actually cost $500. Right now I've budgeted $500 for furniture, but I think that's going to end up being more. And then I bought a lot of paint this month, so I think it ended up being a bit more than $330, but I spent a bit less on the baseboard, so that's good. And then I still need to buy a couple of light fixtures. And then I'm hoping to buy new laundry machines, so this is why I have this, just keeping track of what I can afford to buy for laundry machines. Even when after I move in, I want to build my home maintenance fund. I think the number in my head is I would like to have like $10,000 in addition to my general emergency fund for like a house emergency. So if there's a condo like assessment fee from the HOA, or if something happens like a major plumbing emergency or something, I want the money set aside. So I don't feel comfortable spending everything in my home maintenance fund, but I also have a lot of other financial goals that I want to meet this year. So I think later this week, I'll probably sit down and think about my financial goals for 2024. I would have liked to do it before 2024. I would have liked to do it this month. But I just didn't get around to it. But I think I'll have a video lying out what financial goals I have for the next year. And part of that is going to be, once I get moved into my new place, how much money I want to set aside for things like fun home things. So I think of things like, there's a lot of little things I want to do in my home, but also a lot of big things that I need to save for. So like one thing I'm thinking about is I want to replace like the outlets. My electrical outlets are beige and I'd like to replace them with like white ones. So I'm going to be thinking about how much I want to save towards, like, this is my, things I have to repair in my house, then set aside with my emergency fund, and also saving for things that I want to do, but actually don't change the efficiency of my home or something, if that makes sense. Anyway, so those are the things I'm thinking about. Next, I'm saving towards a new car. My car is over 10 years old now, so I know that eventually I'm going to have to replace it. And so I've been putting aside a little over $200 every month. I budgeted $210, but this month I decided to put my high yield saving account interest towards the new car fund. For a while, I was putting it all towards home maintenance, or before I actually bought my condo, as for down payment. But now I think I'm going to alternate between putting it towards a new car and putting it in the home maintenance budget. So I ended up putting about $290 towards a new car, and now I have $9,600 set aside for purchasing a new car. So this is obviously enough for at least a down payment on a new car, which is comforting. I'm hoping that I can just keep putting money into this fund until I can afford to buy a gently used or a brand new car outright. But I am comforted knowing that if my car died tomorrow, I have enough money to at least put down a huge chunk towards a down payment on a reliable car, and then continue putting about the same amount I do every month into a payment. The last thing that I'm actively saving towards is vacation. I went on a pretty big vacation in 2023. I've started putting a little bit money towards vacation again, but I don't have any like definite plans since I spent quite a bit of money on vacation last year and I just bought a condo. I think I'll be taking at least a couple of small trips. There's a concert I'd like to go to if it actually happens, and I'm going to a work conference, and I might extend that because it's around an area where I have family. So I'm putting about $100 in every month. Right now I have $300 towards a vacation at some point. That's probably enough for if I extend like my conference, but not enough for a concert unless it happens to be my hometown. So I'll just keep slowly adding a little bit of money to it. Before I made this new savings category for vacation, I was putting more money every month in Mad Money. So a while ago, I was putting, probably the last time I was making active budget with me videos, I was putting about $250 a month in Mad Money, or something around $200. But I took some of that and put it towards vacation so that I knew vacation was something that I was saving towards. Like, I want to go on vacation, but then I tend to not spend money. So I felt that if I separated out another line for vacation, it might not be so hard for me to actually take vacations. And then I have some other line items on my savings goal section. I have an emergency fund, but right now I have $16,650 in that fund. So for me, that's a little bit over 6 months of expenses. So I think my goal was 6 months of expenses. So you'll see here I have my basic expenses and then a couple of luxury items, and then I multiplied it by 6, and that gave me about $14,000. So I'm over that. I don't think that it is quite 7 months in there though. Yeah, so I don't have quite 7 months. One of the other financial goals that I'm kind of considering for 2024 is increasing my emergency fund. So this fund used to have a year of expenses, but my expenses were a lot lower. More specifically, the last time I lived by myself, my mortgage, I had rent and not a mortgage, and it was only about $600 a month. So I'm paying a lot more towards housing every month than I used to, so double. So I used to have a year of expenses, and now it's down to 6 months, which is still a good emergency fund, I think, but I'm more comfortable with a year just because it will take a while for me to replace a job. I'm not confident that I could get, if I stay in the same industry, I'm not confident I could get a job in less than 6 months, like apply, interview, and start in less than 6 months. So one thing I'm considering is increasing this a little bit. Ultimately, I would like to be back to a year. I don't know if that's realistic for 2024. But I think I'd like to bump that up to 7 or 8 months this year. Again, I might have another goal. And then I also have a section for life happens, which I'm not actively saving towards. But this is just like things that I'm not expecting to happen. So kind of an emergency fund, but not like, I lost my job in emergency. If that makes sense. I think ultimately this might end up rolled over to home maintenance. Again, I'm going to have to rethink my budget for 2024, and hopefully I'll do that this week. So if I look up here under my sanity checks, you see that I have $3.57 that are not accounted for. And what I typically do, and I'll do this off camera, but what I typically do is I go into my transactions, and if I have extra money in here, I just assign it to a category as a transfer, because I like this balance to be $0. All right, so I just went into the transaction section of my budget spreadsheet, and I moved about $3 over to home maintenance, and now I've given every dollar a job. I've spent every dollar that I had budgeted for this month, either actually spending it or putting it into some sort of saving or rolling expenses category. So next I'm just going to quickly budget my money for January. So I will just make a copy of this December budget, and I will rename it as January 2024. I like to keep the previous month visible, but I like to hide the month before just so that I don't have dozens of tabs. Alright, so tabs hidden. Next thing I have to do is just make sure that this tab isn't actually my December budget. So I tell my spreadsheet I'm looking. This sheet is for January, from January 1st to January 31st, 2024. And my last spreadsheet was December 2023. And that will bring all of my rollover categories and budget balances up to date. So now we see that the money that I have to spend this month is the money that I earned last month. And so far I haven't earned anything to spend next month. So since I brought in less money through side hustles this month, I do have to make some changes. I can see over here I need to budget $152.99 less, which means I have to decrease my spending in some areas. But I also know that there were a couple of areas that I wanted to increase my spending, so we'll see. So if I scroll down, my fixed essentials, like I said, my fixed essentials are the same every month, so I'm not going to make any changes there. I think eventually I'm going to increase my food budget, but I will wait to do that until I've actually moved into my new place. So for utilities, I know that I want to increase that. I'm not sure what to increase it to. So what I've done in the past is I go look at my yearly overview over here, and I look at the average of what I spent, but I've only been paying utilities for about 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 months of utilities, but one of them was a partial month. So according to this, my average was $64, but I don't think that's going to actually cover things because the last couple of months have been greatly more. So I think I want to increase it more than $70. I mean, I still do have quite a bit of rollover here, but I think I'm going to jump this up to $85. We'll see, because I still know I'm going to be losing some in rollover. So I think I would prefer to budget more than I need in 2024 and then reassess once I have a full year with like all 4 seasons, because obviously during the spring and the fall, I pay less in utilities than I do in like the summer and the winter when I have to either use a lot of electric for the air conditioning or gas for heating. So we'll see. So I don't think I need to jump as high as my utilities are because I do have rollover. So I don't know. I think $85 is a good compromise. I think the first couple of months in a new place are always tricky. So we'll see. For cell phone, I'm comfortable leaving it at $40 at least until I switch. So we'll sit good there. Transportation, $160 seems fine. Personal care is pretty standard at $60. Household, since I am hoping to move this month, I think I'm going to budget a little bit more towards household. And this is hard because I keep increasing like things I'm spending, but we'll see. So for household, I think I'm going to, instead of $30, I'm going to do like $125 again, just because I plan on moving this month. So I'm going to have to like buy paper towels and things like that. For entertainment, though, I think I can lower it. Typically, so if I go into, again, in my 2023 yearly, typically I've been spending like less than $30. I mean, the past couple, in October and November, apparently I spent a lot, but most months I'm only spending like 25 max. So I think I'm going to take my entertainment budget down to like $35. Professional development, I need to leave. Mad Money, I'm going to take this down to $125. And then I think I'm just going to have to decrease how much I put towards my home maintenance budget, which is a little bit painful, but I do have enough. We've already discussed the numbers, but I do have enough to finish the renovations that I have planned. So anything extra will be okay. So I think, let's see, if I just delete this, I can see how much I only have $429.07. And then if I budget that much, it takes my leftover to budget down to $0. It's painful. I'd rather be saving more than $429 towards home maintenance, but since I didn't earn very much money outside of my day job, I just have less money to spend. But I think this is a good plan. I might tweak it a little bit more. I could stop saving towards vacation, but yeah. I think for this month, I'm okay decreasing the home maintenance budget. And then I do also have to remember that when I move, I will no longer have to pay for the storage unit, and instead I'll pay for internet, but I'll still be saving a little bit of money that I can put back towards home maintenance. So, like I said, I feel good about this plan. It's a balanced plan. If I change my mind later, I can go in and change the numbers, but yeah, I think I'm good. So thanks for watching if you did watch, and I will see you in my next video.